We did a lot of good things. I think at times, especially at the start of the game, when you're coming off a great win like we had, you think the game's going to be easier, but it's not. And you got to figure out, say this all the time, you got to figure out what the game has given you, and what we needed to do is figure out that what we do constantly is what works the best when we play through the paint. I think at one point in the first half, once we figured it out, we had 15 straight scores going through the paint. And with the uniqueness of guys that can drive it, handle it, pass it, post it, we can get there different ways, and that's where we have to be, especially when we're playing the sagging defenses that we see. So the most important thing is to create that separation by moving without the ball, going through the paint, getting a reverse quickly, driving it out of the corners, and not looking to come into the game and trying to establish our jump shot, but trying to establish our physicality and try to establish our speed. And once we got that going in the first half, we got a lot better. And defensively, we did some good things. We rebounded. We wanted to switch a lot. We wanted to play a lot of guys tonight. We played a lot of different lineups. I think we were almost 40% of our possessions had 2 or more freshmen in the game at some point in time. So that's good learning for us. So at times it's going to look sloppy with that, especially with the way we're trying to bring fatigue to the game. But 23 assists in a game like this is good for us. There'll be good things to build off of that we can get better at, because we do want to be a team that switches. There were times that they were unorthodox with a 6'2", 6'3" post player, and then there were times they had 5 shooters in the game. And our team has got to learn how to adjust constantly, because that's going to be something defenses have to do to us. But we want to make sure while we're trying to make a defense adjust to us, we're not getting beat on that on the other side. So there's good learning for us to get from this. Short turnaround before the next one, then a short turnaround before the one after that. But that'll be good for us. And we had some good performances. Obviously, James's first half was excellent, especially because the way the ball was moving, and I thought he did a really good job of facilitating and moving the ball in the second half. Rob was the beneficiary of some really good things there. And we had numerous guys with 3 or more assists. That's good. So the ball was moving, and at times we didn't shoot the ball as well. At times we didn't rebound it as well. But it's early November, and what we've said all along is we can continue to get better, and I think we will. So go ahead.
Tom, you did a little bit of full court pressure, but what do you? And I know you talked about that.
Well, we did a lot on the ball tonight, which was by design, as far as guarding the ball full court.
And I guess when do you think you would, for an extended period of time, go full court pressure?
Possibly, but I think that's something that we want to do. But we've got to continue to get better in the half court. Our communication defensively, especially because we haven't played any zone yet or anything like that. We're trying to make sure that tonight was a big personnel night, and trying to get established. Okay, we're going to try to take the right shoulder here. We're going to try to take this guy's right hand there. And that takes communication, and that takes some experience. And if you press, a lot of times those things are out the window. Now you're bringing fatigue to the game. You're playing fast, and we're not at the point yet of 5-on-5 experience up and down. I know it looks at times like we're fast, but we want to be able to play fast on both ends. So we'll get the pressures in, we'll get the full court pressures in as we go, but the most important thing is that we can bring fatigue to the game by pressuring the ball, and then not give up easy baskets in the second or in the half court. And we did a little too much of that tonight. But some of that was we respected the dribble too much. We respected the drive rather than switch it out, keep the dribble in front of us, don't leave the man. And we overhelped a couple times, and we got to make sure that we're working through that. But again, that team played fast. We knew that they were going to move the ball well. We knew that they would put numerous people out there. They beat Wagner the other night after Wagner had a huge win over UConn. So they've had a couple games to get their system under their belt. So we'll learn from it.
When you got the earned double-digit lead in the first half, you had Durant and Thomas at the same time. Did you plan to play those two a lot?
No, I didn't do a lot of planning tonight, other than wanted to make sure we played a lot of guys. So I think it was a time to look at it and say, okay, they actually had a good shooting lineup at that point. So that was going to put a little more pressure on those guys, and it was a good night to test that. It was a good night to put those guys in situations where defensively they would have to be away from the basket more, especially Duran. Thomas is getting more used to it. And then at the same time, we weren't where we were. We didn't get into the bonus in the first half until the 8-minute mark, I don't believe. So those are the type of things, okay, let's establish what we want to do in the low post, but let's put those guys in a situation where they've got to continue to play the switching and things of that nature, or the big shows on the ball screen, whatever the coverage was, and communicate it. So we don't practice those two very much together. They're usually going against each other. And we'll drill with them together, but we don't go against each other a lot in a or together in a 5-on-5 situation. That's something we're gonna have to do more of, and I think we will.
Thomas Bryant took out a hard fall in the first half, was holding his knee. I know he stayed in the game, but what's the status of that?
I don't have any. I would assume he's fine because I was never said anything about that he couldn't go in. So I would assume he's fine.
Mike, there was a moment early in the second half of Thomas, right before he went for free throw line. He gets in the huddle. He's pretty animated, gesturing to the other end of the floor. It seemed like he's pretty upset, I guess, with the defensive sequence. I guess how often do you see guys, moments like that, holding each other accountable?
Well, I think that's good. I don't recall that. Hopefully I'll see it on film. But I mean, I think that's good. That's what you want. I mean, we've got to have a more consistent responsibility. And that's an ongoing thing. And we had good moments of that the other night at times against Kansas. There were some times that we didn't. And that, I've said all along, that's going to be something that is got to be absolutely crucial for us to keep getting better because of the relative, there's some inexperience and there's some guys that have played, but very few of these guys have had to be responsible for their teammates in the sense of direction, in the sense of organization, in the sense of alignment, in the sense of putting them in opportunities, reminding them what they have to do. Those guys left, and they were pretty good at it, the guys that we had. So these guys have really got to learn how to do that. So the moment you referred to, even though I didn't see it, that's good, and we need more of that.
Tom, when they were up 5 early, it seemed like your guys stayed pretty patient and just tried to work the problem. How hard is that to do when you're playing a lower level Division I program and you get out to a quick start, just to stay patient and not?
Well, I think again, it's always, what's correctable. And the correctable was we're not going through the paint enough. We're shooting too many threes. And it's not that we don't want to shoot threes, but we don't want to shoot threes without going through the paint. And they were there, right? So it's not like we were taking bad shots, but that's still not moving the defense. And when you're playing into the defense's hand, okay, when you're not doing that, and then they came at us, right? They came at us. The one thing we haven't done very much of since we've been back from Hawaii is play full court. And I probably overthought the whole legs thing and 5-hour time zone thing and all that type of stuff. And it hits everybody differently. And it actually hit some guys probably tonight a little bit. But the one thing we didn't do is just really bear down and do a lot of things in transition. We did it one day since we've been back. So that got us a little bit. But I figured we'd play through that. And the most important thing was that we would understand that getting the ball posted or getting the ball driven through the post, to the paint, was going to be the most important thing to settle us in, because that's usually how we play our best. So it's just a matter of them doing that, and they just keep bringing fatigue, right? I mean, especially with pressing teams. A lot of times a pressing team is going to be down at half, and we weren't pressing per se, we were pressing the ball, but a pressing team will be down at half because you're expecting to bring that fatigue in the second half. And we were hopeful that we would do that at some point tonight.
Beyond his own scoring, what is the ripple of having...
Beyond the what scoring?
His own scoring.
Okay.
What's the ripple effect on your offense of having James back?
Oh, I think there's a confidence when they look at him. He's moving the ball well. He's really just like Josh Newkirk and Jawan, even for that matter, because Jawan, this is really only the third week that he's been live contact, in the way, and we've already had a couple games. James is a lot more explosive than what he was, and he could always dunk and things like that. But he's playing with more force. He's playing downhill more. He's covering more ground, and to come back from an injury like that and to be a better athlete than he even was, and be stronger like he is, that takes a little time for him to get used to. And again, I think we'll keep getting better in understanding each other. There were a couple times even tonight, hit the guy just to pass too late, or to dribble too late, or threw the bounce pass to the post a little too early before he was set, or we looked for the back cut and it wasn't quite there yet. We just don't have that synergy of really understanding each other yet. You know, there's the nuances that only the players know, right? It's not the sets, it's the way they understand each other. James is really working at that. So I think the fact that he can score, the fact that he's moving the ball, the fact that he's getting better defensively, that's a really good thing. And I think you can't help but be impressed on this team with his work ethic. And again, he's not the only one that's coming off a surgery and an injury, so there's a lot of guys that have worked really hard to do that. But everybody really likes James. They love James and went through those hard parts with him, you know, with his injuries, and now they're happy to have him back.
Beyond that, I mean, what is his impact on what you can do offensively?
Oh, is that what your question was? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, numerous things. Numerous things. I mean, it's we posted him to start the game. He's stronger in there. You know, a big thing for us, we want to get him fouled, and we can definitely post him more than what we could have in the past because of that strength. He can get downhill better, which is going to create more drive and kick opportunities. He's moving the ball well. We haven't even really put in a lot of screen sequences yet for him to come off staggers and double staggers and things like that. We haven't even put those things in yet. So, and I think the next big thing for him is going to be really moving without that ball, without a screen. You know, whether it's a cut on the baseline, whether it's a dive off the slot, whether it's getting behind the defense on the break. You know, those things. So there's going to be a myriad of things that we can do with him as we move forward. I'm sorry, I didn't understand that first part of the question. So.
You talked about having sort of freshmen working through some things. Duran, I know he had a couple big free throws in Hawaii. Got a little bit more run tonight. Seemed very confident, especially offensively. Just how far has he come in a short amount of time, and where's his comfort level?
I think he's come a lot in the last couple of weeks. You know, his confidence has really grown in the last couple of weeks. Because again, when you're trying to learn a lot of things, when you're trying to come back from, in his case, come to what he didn't know. He's not coming back from it. He'd never been there. But to come into a realm that he had not known because he wasn't here in the summer, you got to remind him there's some things that he can go to, right? And he can rebound the ball, and he can score. And so while we're figuring everything else out, the shooting and all those different things and the cuts and the movements, you can score and you can rebound. And what he's shown is that he can really get down and move his feet defensively. He's got great feet, and he's got very good hands. He's going to be a very good passer as he gets comfortable with it. But he can really get out and guard. And I think that's what's brought a lot of confidence to his teammates and on the court. You know, not just himself. But he works extremely hard. He's conditioning extra all the time. And he's a product of it. And I think he'll look different in 2 weeks. Right? I mean, it's one of those things.